Christ in living the life of grace. Christ in living the life of grace. My name is Stephen Nachaja. I am here to present on the topic which is the Holy Mass. Firstly, what is the Holy Mass? The Holy Mass is the sacrifice of the true body and blood of Christ together with his soul and divinity, really present on the altar, under the appearances of bread and wine, and offered to God for both the living and the dead. It is the Eucharistic celebration of the redeemed in Christ Jesus. At Mass, Christ is the high priest and the altar of the new covenant. The Holy Mass is the highest form of prayer in the Church. Origin of the Holy Mass. The, the Holy Mass as the sacrifice of the true body and blood of Christ was first prefigured by the high priest Melchizedek when he brought bread and wine to Abraham. It can also be traced back to the Israelites when God commanded them to make themselves unleavened bread to eat. It then came into manifestation when Christ took bread and pork filled with wine and gave it to his disciples, saying, "This is my body, this is my blood. Do this in memory of me." This remarkable event took place at the Last Supper of Christ. Parts of the Mass. There are four main parts of the Mass, which is the introductory rites, the liturgy of the word, the liturgy of the Holy Eucharist, and the concluding rites. The introductory rites. The Mass officially begins with the sign of the cross, followed by the greeting of the priest, then the penitential rites, at which the priest invites the congregation for a spiritual purification, then the Gloria, which is sung during every season except during Lent and Advent. Then the liturgy of the word. At this point in time, all readings for the Mass is being read on Sundays and solemnities. Only three readings are taken, which is the first reading, the second reading and the gospel. But on other occasion, only two readings are taken, which is the first reading and the gospel. The last reading is taken by the priest, after which he gives the homily. The homily is an avenue for the priest to give a brief explanation of the readings. This is followed by the profession of faith, which is the Nicene Creed, then the prayer of the faithful, which marks the end of the liturgy of the word. Of the Holy Eucharist. This is the most important part of the Mass, at which the prayer of consecration, instituted by Christ Himself, is pronounced by the priest at the altar to make the bread and wine transform into the true body and blood of Christ. This is referred to as transubstantiation because the substances of the bread and wine transform into the true body and blood of Christ. After this, the Holy Communion commences. Requirements for the reception of the Holy Communion. 1. One must be in the state of grace, that is free from every form of mortal sin. 2. One must observe the Eucharistic fast, which is 1 hour before the reception of the Holy Communion, except for the sick. After the reception of the Holy Communion comes the post communion prayer, which marks the end of the liturgy of the Holy Eucharist. Con- the concluding rites. This this ends the Mass with the sign of the cross together with the final blessing. Here are the etiquettes of the Mass or ways of preparing for the Holy Mass. 1. Come to Mass early. 2. Be in the state of grace. 3. Observation of the Eucharistic fast. 4. Do not eat or disturb at Mass. 5. Come to Mass with an intention. 6. Dress properly to Mass. 7. Turn on mobile devices off. Here are the etiquettes of the Holy Mass. I hope you will keep them. Now, pick up your pen and your paper and write down these assignments. 1. What is the Holy Mass? 2. List the parts of the Mass. 3. Outline at least 5 etiquettes of the Mass. Ensure you do this with your parents. Thank you.